Dear students, in this video, I am explaining on the items of cash book. See, when we are preparing a two-column cash book, that is double column cash book or three-column cash book, we have to consider three major items and their nature, their process, etc. Here, cash, bank, discount related items we need to consider, and we need to understand which item needs to be debited and which to be credited. Let's begin with understanding cash items here. The cash items, this side, okay, see, when we are preparing the cash book, that is a double column cash book and a triple column cash book, we need to make sure that we have two columns, that is debit and credit, and we have to prepare the way we prepared single column cash book, like all the receipts in the debit side and all the credits in the payments in the credit side. In the same way here also, all the debit should be written in the left side, your left side, that is in the debit side. Debit means here all receipts, okay, all receipts should be written in the debit side, all the payments should be written in the credit side. Credit side payments means what is going from us. Debit side cash receipts means what is coming to us. Okay, money coming to us in any form is cash receipt. That is only the cash items we need to record here. Okay, only cash transactions. We have learnt in subsidiary books when we were preparing purchase book, purchase return book, sales return book, that we are not recording cash purchases of anything or cash sales of anything in those books, right? But any transaction we are doing using cash or bank, that we need to record in these cash books. Okay, so here, first item you can see here, cash received. Cash received, anybody has given as a cash. Okay, that is cash received. MO or PO received. MO means money order, PO means postal order. Any form of money which we have received, that we need to debit. Okay, on the other side, the cash payments which we made, we have paid a cash to somebody, that we need to record it in the credit side. Okay, next, cash withdrawn from the bank for office use. See, we have to think here, when we are preparing a cash book, we can deposit the cash in the bank. Yes, for example, I have a 10,000 rupees in my hand and I have deposited that 10,000 rupees in the bank. So now what is left in my hand? No cash is left. But in the bank, cash is increasing, right? In the same way, if there is some amount in the bank account of the business, okay, not personal account we are speaking here, in the business bank account, if let's consider 50,000 of balance is there in the bank account. From there, I have withdrawn 5,000 rupees for office use only. Okay, office use only. The bank account is of a business only and office use is also for the business only. So this is, both are linked to business only. So now when the cash we are withdrawing from the bank, the money in our hand, the cash in our hand is increasing, whereas the money in the bank is decreasing. So what happens here? We need to record the transactions in the both accounts. That is, one in the cash account, another one in the bank account, showing that in cash, if it is increasing, if cash is increasing in our hand, the amount in the bank is decreasing. Right. So decreasing means that is credit side, increasing means that should be in a debit side. So here you can see cash withdrawn from the bank for office use should be written in the debit side of the bank, whereas as we record this transaction here in the debit side of the cash book, we need to. So here that needs to be recorded in the credit side of the bank column. So why, when we are withdrawing cash from the bank, the amount in the bank is reducing. Credit here means reducing, debit here means increasing when it comes to cash column and the bank column. Okay, debit means increasing, that is at, okay, increasing when it comes to credit, when the amount is reducing, okay, that is subtracting, that time we have to record in the credit side only when it comes to the cash and bank columns, not to discount column. Okay, that I will explain later. So here the next transaction, so you understood that this is a contra entry, because one side if we are showing a debit, another side we are showing a credit, because bank and cash both are showing in the cash books. Okay, next, the check received. See here what happens when we were preparing a single columnar cash book. We saw that this kind of transactions. Okay, what is this check received? There will be two types of check received. Okay, here I will show you. Okay, see, assume today it's 28th November, 28th November, and we received a check 28th November 23rd, Monday. Okay, sorry, Tuesday. So Tuesday we received a check from someone. Okay, someone we received worth rupees 10,000 or something. Okay, let's assume that we received uh, from Raj. Okay, we received from Raj. Now this check we have received but not yet deposited. Okay, this check we have received but not yet deposited in the bank. If we deposit this check immediately in the bank, there is no cash transaction here. Okay, we received the check, we deposited in the bank immediately on the same day. On the same day, 28th means 28th itself, I deposited the check in the bank. So the transaction directly hits the bank account. That in the bank account, the amount will increase. That is, it should be debited in the bank account. Okay. But when it comes to check received but not yet deposited, check is received on 28th. Okay. But has not yet deposited. Not deposited. Okay. So now, what happens about this check? Might we have kept this check considering this as a negotiable instrument, which we can use it to pay to somebody else? Until and unless we don't deposit this check into the bank. Let's assume I may deposit this check on 30th of November, 30th November. Okay, 30th. So on 30th, if I am going to 30th on Thursday. So now there is a 2 days delay in depositing this check. So till those 2 days, we have received the check on this particular date, right? That we need to show in our cash book. Until we deposit this check, the amount should be shown in our cash book. So that's why when we are receiving this check, we consider this as a cash equivalent and we deposit this, we show this entry in the cash book here, okay, check received, which is not yet deposited. We show it here. That amount like 10,000 rupees something, we show it in a cash column itself. Okay, that will be shown in a cash column itself of the book. Now, the 10K is recorded. After few days, you have to see in the question if the check is deposit. Obviously, we cannot keep the check with within ourselves, right? We have to deposit it, or we need to transfer the check to somebody else. If we transfer the check to somebody else, that we need to reduce that uh, amount from the cash side. So we will write it like the check transferred to Mr. X, something like that, and credit that item in the cash column. Credit that item in the cash column. Okay. If the transaction is not, the check is not transferred, but after 2 days, like I said, on 30th, the check is deposited into the bank. Now, when the check is deposited into the bank, that worth of how much? 10,000 rupees. No, 10,000 rupees worth of check is deposited into the bank. The amount in the bank should increase, right? Because when we are depositing a check in the bank, obviously our bank account will get credited. That means amount in the bank is increasing. So when the amount in the bank is increasing, we need to debit that item. Okay. So accounting debit and credit are different. Banking debit and credit are different. Okay. There you don't get confused. So when the check is deposited into the bank, the amount in the bank is increasing. So that should be debited, and the amount in the cash column is crediting. Why it is crediting? It is because the check which we recorded in the cash column for 10,000 rupees, when we had received that check on 28th of November, now I cannot erase that entry that now I have deposited that into a bank. Okay, so I cannot erase that entry using a eraser or a whitener or anything in the softwares when we are doing an accounting. So it is necessary to post a contra entry. When there is a 10,000 rupees showing in the debit side, that means I have 10,000 worth of some instrument, that may be a cash or a check. ಈಗ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ 10,000 ಮೊತ್ತದಷ್ಟು ಹಣವಿದೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಚೆಕ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಆದರೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾನು ಆ ಚೆಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಇಂದ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಎಂಟ್ರಿನ ನಾನು ಎರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ 10,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿನ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ತೋರಿಸ್ದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗಿ ಎರೇಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎರೇಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 10,000 ಚೆಕ್ಕಿನ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. So this is why it is necessary that we need to prepare 3 entries if in case we are receiving a check and we deposited a check in a later date. ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಚೆಕ್ 2-3 ದಿನ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗಿಗೆ 3 ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. 1 ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಯಾವ ಡೇಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು, ಈಗ 28ಗೆ ನಾನು ಚೆಕ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, 28ಗೆ ಚೆಕ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಎಂಟ್ರಿ. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಎಂಟ್ರಿಯ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ನ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ 30ಗೆ ಆ ಚೆಕ್ ನ ನಾನು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೆ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಸೈಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಬಿಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ 10,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆನ್ 30th ಅಂತ ಎಂಟ್ರಿನ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಾವು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾ ಎಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ವಿಡ್ರಾನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಯ್ತು. you are seeing now the cash deposited into a bank. So the cash deposited into a bank, ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಹಣ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಪಾಸಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೊತ್ತವು ಕಡಿಮೆಯಾಗುತ್ತಿದೆ. So when it is reducing, it means we need to credit that in the cash column and we need to debit that in the bank column. Okay, so if we are withdrawing the cash for office use, that we need to debit here and credit in the bank column. If you are depositing in the bank, that needs to be credited in the cash column and debited in the bank column. Okay, so these are about the contra entries. And remember that if we are withdrawing the cash from the bank for personal use, or they may use a word private use, that is considered as drawings, that we need to record in the credit side of the cash as drawings, cash drawings. Okay, or if cash is drawn for personal use, then it becomes a cash drawings that should be recorded in the credit side. If a cash is drawn from the bank for personal use, that is again should be drawn, written as a drawings from a bank account, that is personal use. So now here check received and deposited into bank immediately. Check received and deposited into bank directly, like somebody has given us the money, or check that we are directly going and depositing in the bank, that we directly debit in the bank column. Okay, nothing else. We should not think about cash at all. If somebody has given us a cash, okay, we are immediately depositing that into a bank. That also we need to record directly in the bank only. We should not touch cash columns. Okay, next, customer directly paid to the bank. Customer has deposited the money directly into our bank using Paytm, Phone Pay, like that. They have directly deposited the money. That means in the bank the amount is increasing. Next, check issued, dishonored or rejected by the bank. So assume that we have issued a check. If we issue a check, the money in the bank account is reducing. Okay, that we needs to show it in the credit side of the bank column. But the check which we had issued is getting rejected. Dishonored means rejected by the bank, that we need to record in the debit side again. Means if we are showing here 5,000 worth of check we issued, okay, 5k worth of check we issued, and to whomever we issued, assume that I issued a check worth rupees 5,000 to you. Okay, when you deposited that check into the bank, the bank manager did not accept that, the cashier did not accept that, that is rejected because of any reason. Okay, that is rejected. Then you will come back to me and you will scold me saying that the check which you have given to me is rejected. Next, what will happen? That entry, that what I had already recorded, that I have paid 5,000 check to you, that I need to remove from my books of account, right? Accounting books. But I have already recorded this entry. So for that, I cannot erase that entry using an eraser or a whitener, I said already, right? So what I need to do, I need to record one more entry here, so showing that check issued is dishonored or rejected by the bank for 5,000 rupees. Then this credit amount and debit amount get balanced and that will become 0. Okay, next, bank charges. If any bank has charged anything from us, the amount in the bank is reducing. Interest on overdraft. If we have paid any interest on the overdraft, then the amount is reducing. Payment directly made by the bank as per standing instruction. Payment directly made by the bank as per standing instruction. Then again, the funds are reducing. For example, if we have given an instruction to our bank manager in a written format that he has to deduct 1000 rupees every month from our bank and pay it to LIC company in the form of insurance premium. So now, as per our standing instruction, the bank manager every month on a particular date, he will deduct the money from our bank account and pay that money to the LIC. So that is what we call it as a standing instruction, and he is doing that as per the guidance or instruction given by us. So he is directly paying that money every month or regularly, frequently as per our instruction. That time when he is doing a payment on behalf of us, ನಮ್ಮ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನ ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಂಡಳಿಯು ನಮ್ಮ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿರುವಾಗ ಅವರು ಆ ಹಣವನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟಿನಿಂದ ಡಿಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಅಂತಹದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂದ ಹಣ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ. So that is why here we need to consider that funds are being deducted, reduced from the bank account. That's why we are crediting that item. Next, interest allowed given by the bank. Bank has given us an interest for the amount which we had in our bank. Okay, so that interest is a income to us, no? So that means in the bank account the funds are increasing. We have received something. Next, amount directly received by bank as per the standing instruction. Like bank has received any funds on behalf of us, okay, on behalf of us. That also we need to debit in the bank column. Next, discount column. So discount are of two types, okay? One is discount allowed, discount received. So here we need to understand that cash and bank are asset items. Cash and bank are asset items. Always these items will have debit side balance. Especially the cash column items will always have debit side or item balance. There is no chance of having a credit side balance at the beginning of the month. Why? It is because whatever the cash we have in our hand, that is what we can pay. If we don't have a money, if we don't have a cash in our hand, we cannot spend that, right? For example, I have only 100 rupees in my hand. I can spend maximum of 100 rupees. I cannot spend 120 rupees, right? Yes. But when it comes to bank, here the bank is an asset and having a debit balance is normal. But there are chances sometimes. There are chances a credit balance may also come. It is because of overdraft. In bank, if you want to overdraw the money, we can draw if we have that facility assigned to our particular bank account. Overdraft means withdrawing the amount more than what we have as a balance in our account. If I have 10,000 rupees balance in my account, but in our emergency, I need 15,000 rupees balance, 15,000 rupees money, I can use my debit card and pay 15,000 rupees. That 5,000 rupees I might have drawn from an overdraft facility given by a bank to me. So that is overdraft facility. That is a form of credit, advance loan, which we have taken from a bank, for which we have to pay the interest. If 5,000 rupees more I have drawn, that is obviously a credit balance. So sometimes when it is an overdraft, a chance that bank may have a credit balance, it happens. Okay, next. But when it comes to discount, we have two types of discount, discount allowed and discount received. See, as per the dealer concept, which I have already taught you guys, DEA, D for drawings, E for expenses, A for asset. DEA should have debit balance. LER. L for liability. E for equity or capital. R for revenue or income. These are credit items which we record in the trial balance, right? You know that. So now discount allowed is when we are allowing a discount, it is a expenses to us. This is an expenses to us. So this is recorded in the debit side. Discount allowed should be recorded in the debit side. This is a expense. Discount allowed is a expense. Here I have written already. Discount allowed is a expense. So this should be recorded in the debit side. And discount received. Received is a income, kind of income, not a revenue. It is a kind of income. That should be recorded in the credit side. When we are receiving a discount, it is increasing. When we are allowing a interest discount, it is increasing. So this should be discount allowed should be recorded in debit side. Discount received should be recorded in the credit side. And there is no need of balancing this item to say that we write at the end of the particular cash book, we write by balance brought down to balance, by balance carried down to balance brought down, like that we write. No, that is not required to be written for discount allowed and discount received columns, whereas for the cash and bank columns we need to write. Okay, this is about the theoretical aspects of these items which we need to understand basically when we are preparing the cash books. So I tell you guys to make sure that you know all the items properly. If you know all these items properly, I am sure that you are going to solve single column cash book, double column cash book, three column cash book, and those three things will cover around 17 marks for you in the examination. 12 marks, one question compulsory, double column or three column cash book, and 5 marks, one question compulsory, simple cash book, that is also known as single column cash book. Okay, and we do have petty cash book that also be covered. That is for a skill development 6 marks question. So this column cash book itself is covering you around 5 plus 12 plus 6, that is around 17, 23 marks. The cash books itself is covering you 23 marks. From this, if they ask one theory question also in the 2 marks, it will cover 25 marks. Nothing else, only if you learn cash book also you will pass the examination of fundamentals of accounting. Okay, let's solve the problems in the future videos. Thank you.